Hello, my name is Elisa Milan, and I'm a digital painter who, like most, has had a great love of Japan and Japanese culture all of my life. I've long since admired Tokyo's streets as well as artists who are able to so beautifully render them. Ever since I was a little girl, I have greatly admired those who have the skill to do so. Now that I'm a few years into my art journey, my professional art journey, trying to do more than just doodle on the edges of my paper every once in a while, I decided that it's finally time for me to try and start tackling Japanese streets. I did my first one about a year ago. It was pretty bad. It did help me learn though. It helped me learn maybe what I need to do in the next one. Slowly, I figure I'll finally get somewhere. In the beginning of the video, you probably saw that I was tracing over a reference photo. What I did to get reference for this piece was go on Google Streets and just look around some of Tokyo's neighborhoods. I found a really pretty reference. I actually kind of tweaked it a little bit. I made the building larger there in the front. I skewed the angle of the building as well to make it taller than it used to be, and then I also made the vending machine large just because I really love vending machines. I wanted to make it more prominent in this piece, but I realized through my studies here that perspective is a big fat weak point. I was kind of on a deadline to get it done, so for this particular piece I just ended up tracing my perspective lines. I did watch a few videos on perspective to try and help me figure it out, but in this particular instance it was easier to just trace the perspective lines so I get them right and then focus on painting, because this is a pretty big piece to paint, at least for me. I normally work with smaller things and simpler subjects. As you can see, I'm working on a car right now, and even after sketching out the car, I had a very hard time rendering that metal. Metal is not something that I normally paint, and so that is definitely going on my mental list of things to practice. You can see now that I'm painting my bear Sprout. At first he was a little chonky, a little round, and that really wasn't the aesthetic that I had in mind for Sprout. I haven't actually really painted Sprout's full body before this. I usually just paint his floating head all the time, but in my head he's more of a rectangular kind of guy, so I decided to actually draw a rectangle to help me figure out his physique, and that helped a lot. It was really fun to see Sprout full body for probably the first time, besides some sketches in my sketchbook. For those of you that don't know, Sprout is my barista bear. He lives in this neighborhood that he's walking in right now, in my own fantasy Tokyo called Kumasakurashi. This piece was actually supposed to be a part of a little graphic novel that I had in mind one day to do. One of the scenes in my head from this graphic novel was Sprout walking home from the kombini, just having an afternoon relaxation session, going out, walking around the town, because Sprout, one of his hobbies is to explore around Kumasakurashi because he's new to the city, or new-ish. So I thought it would be fun to paint one of the scenes from the graphic novel that will probably take me forever to actually get to. I don't get enough time to paint, which is sad. I wish I had more time to paint. I guess this is a step towards me not only fulfilling my own dreams of becoming proficient at painting Japanese cityscapes, but also to build up Sprout's world and start telling his story. Something I tried in this painting that was very interesting for me was the straight line tool. Normally, I don't use anything but my free hand and my paintbrush While I was looking back at my earlier paintings, I realized that my buildings really don't have enough definition. My hand is too unstable to paint the lines of the buildings that need to be there. And so I heavily utilize the straight line tool in this piece. I think it really made for a stronger and more defined look, more defined than any other cityscape painting I've done thus far. I really like how it turned out. I'm very happy that I decided to finally use some more tools in my tool belt than just the paint tool. A lot of newer artists say that they get overwhelmed with digital art because there's just so many tools to use. But then most of the time I hear a lot of, I guess, veterans of digital art saying that they really end up only using a few brushes. And I find the same to be true for me. I normally just use my plain pen brush that makes nice bold lines like you can see here with those drinks in the vending machine. And then I use my plain old paintbrush, tweaked a little bit to work to the way I like it. And then yeah, the straight line tool is me branching out for the first time in like a few years. You just get comfortable using what you know. I wanted to bring a little bit of what I call my Hello Elisa Milan rainbow into the painting, so I decided to add it there on top of the vending machine, and I really like how it turned out. I feel like having that rainbow and those colors all around really helps pull some of my art pieces together. I tried one more time there to render out that car. It was giving me such a hard time. I ended up leaving the car alone in the end because this painting really needed to just get done, and rendering out metal it's just something I've got to practice more before I try and paint a whole car. But yeah, we're nearing the end here. Thank you so much for watching this video and listening to this quick commentary. If you'd like to get your own afternoon walk home painting, I will be sending out a postcard via Patreon mail. May is the final month to sign up for that. And then I'll have postcards and prints available of this piece in my online shop update here in June, as well as Phoenix Fan Fusion June 2nd through the 4th. That's where I'll be debuting this piece. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed this quick video. We'll talk soon. Mata ne.